So we just have one last thing we need to do because next what we're going to be doing is the UVing. So I need to make sure the model's done. If you look, you can see I don't really have the geometry necessary for my elbow to bend. There's not enough edge loops in there. So we just need to make sure that we put enough in here in order to support basically deformation. So I'm going to look at the legs here. I'm going to go ahead and put my symmetry. We'll do object X. And I'm just going to make sure I have enough geometry in order for the various things to flex. So I'm just going to go here, poly modeling, and all we're really going to be doing is just adding edge loops. So I'll just put one, let's say here. You can see these are a little bit tight, so I like to use this tool here, which is called Mesh Tools Slide Edge. I'm going to hold Control Shift and middle mouse button click. Sorry, I lost my voice there, and then that will actually put it on my shelf. So what I'm going to do is double click this, and my middle mouse button click and drag, middle mouse button click and drag, and I can kind of spread those out a little bit to make it a little bit more even. Let's go ahead and add some here as well. So, I can't. Okay, so we'll put, let's say, one in here, just so that I have enough to support flexion. That's probably good enough. The knee is going to need a little bit more, so I think just one on either side would be fine. But before I do that, I'm going to grab this edge loop and just sort of straighten it out. I'm not going to worry about being perfectly straight, but a little more straight than that. And we'll just kind of straighten this one a little bit, and we'll do a little less each time. And this one a little bit. Okay, and now I'm just going to go ahead and I'll hit wide ramp for the last two I was using, and we'll just put some edge loops in here. One of the things that's a good idea to do is to actually have the back edge loops a little bit tighter than the front ones. And that's just because, oops, this to this, this to this, and then we'll just kind of scale that a little bit. And that's because when we go to bend it, it only really goes in one direction. So it's already where it needs to be. Otherwise, what will happen is that as you bend it, it's going to sound counterintuitive. But if these were farther apart, when this goes to flex, this and this line will start to jam in. But if they're already really close, when this pivots from this line, they're both right here. So they actually move not as far, and it will result in better flexion. Now, if this leg bent this way and that way, we'd want to keep them like we have here. But because the knee only bends in one direction, it only, during its flexion, it goes this direction, and extension only extends out as far as this. It actually behooves us to have them a little bit tighter right there. So like, for instance, I'm not going to do that on my thigh area because it goes forward and backwards. So it doesn't work there. It works well for this, and it will work well for the elbow here as well. So I'm going to put on my elbow as well. You can see I'm probably going to run into a little bit of issues here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one kind of close here, and I'll put another one here. And then you can see I have these things here. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my slide edge tool. I'm going to turn off soft select. I'm going to grab this one and this one, and I'm going to kind of pull that up. I'll grab this one and pull this one up a little bit too to make it a little bit more even. And then I'm just going to grab this, and we'll just kind of scale those in. Just trying to spread the love here, if you will. Okay, and let's make this, just in general, these are all little tight. Okay, and then these we can do sort of the same thing. This actually works out well too, because from a visual standpoint, let's go ahead. Will this work with soft select? Let's find out. And the answer is no, it doesn't do anything. That's too bad. From a visual standpoint, it actually helps too, because what you'll see is right here. I'm going to move this up a little bit first before I carry on, just so it's a little more, a little more angled. I'll pull this one a little bit more down, and then we'll take this one, put this one up a little bit, take this one, put this one down a little bit. It'll actually, like if I go to poly smooth this, it'll actually make it, well, it's not really doing much here, but you can actually create a crease there, which if you look at your bicep, you will see that there is more or less a crease in that area. These should probably go up a little bit, actually. So, actually, let's do this. Let's grab this whole thing. Let's just slide that. Oh, there we go. Slide it up a little bit. Grab this whole one. Slide this up a little bit. And we'll grab these. I feel like the elbow is actually a little bit low. And then we'll grab this whole thing and slide that up a little bit too. It's a little better. Okay. And then this bicep, we are going to put down this way a little bit. That's a little better. Actually, let's grab the whole thing. that all of it? Yeah. We'll slide it down a little bit just because that should be farther down. Okay. So I just want to make sure I have enough geometry. You can see the fingers. We have the same issue. What might be a little bit easier here, though, is I'm going to grab this. We'll grab this one, doing this in a real rough kind of way. But obviously, I have joints right there. Instead of trying to do the multi-cut tool, I'm just going to go ahead and use bevel. I'm going to click on the bevel. And then what we're going to do is make this much smaller. Let's try 0.1, just so I can see it. And then we're actually going to do, let's do 2 segments. So it ends up making 3 total. And then let's do 0.25. That's not enough. Was 0.5 the right amount? 0.5 was good to begin with. Okay. Probably go a little bit farther. Let's do 0.6. That's probably okay. And then I would just want to do the same thing basically for these bottom joints. So I might need to add some geometry. This one feels too far up, so I'm just going to slide that down. Oops. Looks like there's an issue right here on my finger too. What is that? That's weird. I'm gonna have to fix that afterwards. Something got funky town USA. So I'll come back to that. We're gonna go ahead and slide this down a little bit. Oh, I already did slide it down. Okay, like that, Q, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do joints on these ones as well. That one's also got to go down. Right there. Okay. This one, this one, this one, and this one. And then we'll just hit, again, the bevel. I'm going to choose, we'll leave it at that, actually, because that seemed to be pretty close last time. We'll do 3. Not 3, sorry, 2. All right, and that looks roughly okay. And then I would just do the same thing as before, where I will take these inside edges, and I will put them closer together, like so. And then I would take the outside ones, these outside of the knuckles, and then I would scale those farther apart. Okay, so same idea, because again, the fingers can flex inwards, but not not past the 180 degrees. It can only go in the negative there, right? So I would do that to all the fingers, basically just have them basically wedges as much as possible, all right? As well as thumb. So hopefully that makes sense. Maybe add another edge loop in here. This looks a little low. If you find that you need more edge loops in areas, just go ahead and add those in as well. I think that's mostly okay. But basically, we just want to make sure that we have enough geometry to support the deformation as well. And once that's done, then you're good to go. And then next week, we will be doing UVs. So good luck.